Welcome back to another video. One of the 5 secret stocks Wall Street's sleeping on that could explode this week. All the news moving the market and what everybody's waiting on for some good market moves. These rare gems are moving big, and I'm spilling the tea on why they are your ticket to quick profits. Stick around till the end. I'm dropping exact trade setups you won't find anywhere else. Let's make some money this week. So let's start off with everything to expect for the week. So to start, last week on Friday, we had the U.S. non-farm payrolls report for May released on Friday, June 6th. Showed 139,000 jobs added, beating expectations of 130,000, with the unemployment rate steady at 4.2%. This solid data eased fears of a sharp economic slowdown, boosting U.S. stocks, with the S&P up 1.5% for the week and hitting 6,000. The strong job numbers pushed Treasury yields up, with the 10-year at 4.5% and the 2-year at 4.04%. For anybody that wants to take their trading to the next level, I made an option course PDF, teach you guys everything that you guys need to know about option plays, how to read charts, literally the stock market basics, and also everything you guys need to know about option plays. It has examples, option strategies, and how to become profitable. And I promise you, you'll make your money back within the first trading day. So we do have a lot to update you guys with the US and China trade talks scheduled for Monday, June 9th in London. Investors were optimistic after a reported Trump and Xi phone call and a 3-month extension on some Chinese goods tariffs until August 31st, 2025. This eased some trade tension fears, supporting market sentiment. Bitcoin stabilized around 104,000, showing low volatility, which calmed some speculative markets. So we see that altcoins could rally if trade talks went smoothly and no major market manipulation occurred. So China and US talks in London, May 9th, which is today, is a big focus point. Positive progress could keep the tariff pause rally going, lifting US and global markets, especially in tech and consumer sectors. A breakdown, though, might spark volatility, as tariffs has been a big market driver. So other things that could potentially move the stock market. So US inflation data, CPI and PPI, consumer price index, it drops on Wednesday, June 11th. Markets are watching closely for signs of a cooling inflation or sticky wage pressures. A lower than expected CPI could fuel hopes for Fed rate cuts, boosting stocks and bonds, while a hot print might spike yields and pressure markets. The producer price index, the PPI, also hits on Wednesday, with estimated at 0.25% month over month versus negative 0.5% in April, and core PPI at 0.3% versus the negative 0.4%. A surprise here could move markets, especially bonds. JOLTS jobs openings is on Tuesday, June 10th, and it will give more color on U.S. labor market strength. Markets expect steady demand after April's resilience numbers. University of Michigan consumer sentiment, Friday, June 9th. Preliminary June reading expected at 50.7 versus 52.2 in May. A drop could signal consumer caution, weighing on retail stocks. Initial jobless claims, Thursday, June 12th. Last week's was 247,000, was higher than expected, so a rebound or further rise could move markets. So we do have some Federal Reserve chatter, Fed speakers, including Chicago's Fed's Goldsby, I don't know if I said that right, but are on deck for this week. Goldsby's recent comments suggested optimism on inflation if trade tensions ease. Any hawkish or dovish surprises could sway rate cut expectations, currently at 1.77 cuts for 2025, down from 2.19 last week. So let's move to the earnings calendar. So earning and tech events. So Oracle earnings Wednesday, June 11th could signal cloud and AI demand strength impacting tech stocks. We do have the Apple WWDC 2025. It starts today, Monday, June 9th. New AI-focused product reveals could lift Apple stock and tech sentiment. And they can also announce deals with other AI stocks and stuff like that, so keep that in mind. First quarter earnings season is wrapping up, with 78% of the S&P 500 companies beating expectations. Broadcom and Lululemon's solid reports last week set a positive tone. We also have GameStop, Chewy, and some other stocks like Adobe that could also move and be great day trade stocks. So keep that in mind overall, especially GameStop. They might be able to come out with some numbers from their crypto section because they are investing in a crypto, but people don't know what the price was at. So let's talk about something more. Trump's big, beautiful bill. So we did see major revisions to the tax bill overall. This is very well talked about. A lot of people already know what it is, but we can kind of summarize it a little bit. So Trump's big, beautiful bill is a massive tax and spending package that narrowly passed the House and getting a lot of heat from key people like Elon Musk and many others. It is described as a $3.9 trillion tax cut bill. It includes tax cuts from the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act, new broader control funding, and cuts to social safety net programs like Medicaid. It passed the House slim to 215 to a 214 vote, which is insane. So the revisions focus on tax provisions, Medicaid cuts, and other elements. It will potentially take weeks to finalize. So some of the major changes: it will make business tax breaks permanent, including research and development deductions, BITDA based interest expense, and 100% bonus depreciation. The Senate may also adjust the state and local tax, the SALT deduction cap, which was raised to $40,000 in the House version. So Medicaid cuts, so senators like Josh Hawley oppose deep Medicaid cuts, citing harm to the working class. There's discussions of softening or eliminating these cuts to gain broader support. So clean energy credits, key Republican senators oppose the House cuts to clean energy incentives from Biden's inflationary Republican Act, as these benefit the red states. Moderate senators may push to restore these credits. Also, AI regulation ban, a provision banning states from regulating AI for a decade, is under scrutiny. Senate Republicans revised it to comply with the budget rules, tying it to federal broadband funding. So Elon Musk's influence. So despite Musk's criticism of the bill cost and threats to oppose lawmakers who support it, Senate Republicans are largely ignoring his input, showing that they're pushing forward aggressively, pedal to the metal mentality. Internal GOP tensions: the Senate's 53 to 47 majority means only a few could derail the bill. Senators like Ron Johnson demand deeper spending cuts, 5.5 to 6.5 trillion over a decade, while others like Thom Tillis, I might be butchering these names, also seek deficit reduction. So there is a big concern with debt ceilings. So the bill includes a debt ceiling increase critical to avoid a U.S. payment default. Historically opposed to debt increases, need persuasion through spending cuts and broader enforcement provisions. The bill includes $25 billion for the Golden Dome missile defense system, which is honestly an insane defense system, only if it works, potentially benefiting companies like Palantir, and eliminates fuel economy fines for automakers, easing restrictions on gas-powered vehicles. It also affects higher education by adding financial pressure on colleges and students. Potential impacts: so critics worry about the bill's impact on the national debt, higher interest rates, and sectors like $20 billion residential solar market, which could face devastation without restored clean energy incentives. The Senate's changes aims to balance these concerns with Trump's campaign's promises, like tax breaks for overtime and tips. But some of the major issues with the bill: this is just another article that I looked up. The bill narrowly passed by the House includes tax cuts, broader funding, and Medicaid reductions. They plan revisions to adjust the tax provisions, softening Medicaid cuts, restore clean energy credits, and tweak the AI regulation band. With a tight 53 to 47 Senate majority, internal GOP divisions and debt ceiling concerns complicate the passage, with the July 4th target looking shaky. But with that being said, man, overall, the big beautiful bill, man, a lot of people hate it. Some people love it. It does look like that the richer are going to be getting richer off of this, and I understand that. A lot of tax cuts and stuff like that. I'm only here to update you guys with the news, not really here to start any drama or anything like that. Not going to say I agree or disagree, but just letting you guys know what stocks can benefit and honestly how the stock market overall will be looking. But keep in mind that this will bring up the debt overall, and overall, like long term, doesn't really look too good for stocks and rate cut odds. But overall, man, market outlook: so bullish case if the CPI and PPI data show cooling inflation, trade talks progress, and Apple's WWDC delivers. Expect the S&P 500 to test all-time highs to the 6,144. Tech, communication services, and consumer discretionary sectors could lead. Bearish case: hot inflation data, trade talk breakdowns, or weak consumer sentiment could spark volatility, pushing treasury yields higher. 10 yield could test the 4.75% and pulling stocks down. Defensive sectors like consumer staples and utilities might lag. And we have a lot of volatility. We see that markets are bracing for a chop, especially if inflation data surprises or trade talks falter. Crypto could see swings if stocks react strongly. So keep that in mind for the overall stock market. But with that all being said, man, let's talk about some supports and resistance. Honestly, for the pre-market, man, we're kind of trading the same level as Friday, which is okay. We didn't really have any major news. And honestly, everybody's really waiting on the trade talks and the data to drop. So keep that in mind for the stock market overall and have that on your radar because that can move stocks and get you guys a good play. So let's get to some supports and resistance. And after this, I'll give you guys 5 stocks to day trade this week that can make you potentially a lot of money. So first off, let's start off with the SPY. I'm watching that 600 level. If we could break above that, look at 601.5. We can make a clear break of that 601.5, look at 603, 605, and then 610 to the upside. To the downside, if we do start selling off, especially at market open, that's normally when we get the most movements and a clear direction. Look at 598.5. 597.5, 595, and then 590 to the downside. Apple, we got the WWDC coming on, so I do recommend watching the event and being updated with news that comes out overall with that. So look at that 205 level. If we break above that, look at 206.5, 208 in that 210 level. Past that 210, look at 211.5, 212.5, 213.5, 215, and 220 for Apple. To the downside, man, look at that 203, 202, 201.5, and 200. And below that, look at 195 and then 190 for Apple. NVIDIA, man, it has been moving pretty decent, but has been pretty sideways. So honestly, man, some levels to watch first is going to be that 143.5 and then all the way down to that 137. So honestly, if we can make or break one of these levels, I do see that we can break maybe the 144 level. Past that, look at 145, 150. To the downside, if we do start selling off, look at that 141.5. 140 is going to be key if we break below that. 139.5, 138.5, and then finally that 137 level. If we break below that, 135, and then 130 to the downside. Palantir, man, this big, beautiful bill can maybe move it potentially, but I think Palantir is still waiting on a deal, and we're looking pretty bearish to the downside, consistently making higher lows. With that being said, look at that 130. If we break above that 132.5, and then if we can make a break above 135, we might be looking a little bit more bullish, and look at that 140 next. To the downside, man, look at that 125, 123, and then that 120 level to the downside for Palantir overall. Tesla, man, this beef continues between Elon Musk and Trump. Not really making any good progress, and we did sell off a decent amount already. So I am going to be seeing if we could test those lows of like that 230 or 273.2. We break below that, look at some new lows of like 265, and then 260, 255, and then 250 flat to the downside for Tesla overall. This news can bring Tesla down, and it also can bring it up if they start, squashing the beef or something good happens overall. Bitcoin is looking okay. We did make a big break upwards to that 106,000 level. So honestly, if we can keep on breaking up, you can make some plays to the upside. But then if we start selling off from here, which might happen, you could play some plays to the downside. Some stocks to watch for Bitcoin. First off is MSTR. They've been throwing a lot of money into Bitcoin overall. So you can make a lot of money up or down. It moves exactly with Bitcoin. So depending on how Bitcoin moves, you can make a decent amount of money off of MSTR. Also Coinbase, but the contracts are pretty expensive for day traders and swing traders out there. So I do recommend looking at the ETF IBIT, and the plays are relatively cheap. I shout this out in every single video, not even sponsored, but 187 bucks for a 2-week contract. That's not too bad. So I do recommend checking out IBIT if you guys do want to get into the Bitcoin trend, but only if you see a clear trend up or down. And you can also hold these for a couple of weeks if you really wanted to. But honestly, this is more of like, a day trade or a swing trade for Bitcoin overall. So I decided to change it up today. Normally I'd be giving you guys stocks like Tesla, NVIDIA, Apple for day trading, but those are obvious ones. So let me give you guys some ones that people don't really talk about. So we have Cantor Equity Partners, CEP, a crypto-focused SPAC that has been wild lately. After a $3.6 billion merger with a Bitcoin investment firm, it's got crazy momentum. Think multi-day rips and short squeezes, with Bitcoin steady at 104,000 and currently spiked up to 106, and trade talks hyping crypto. CEP's low float and high volatility make it a day trader's dream. Watch for panic dips or VWAP reclaims for this. So keep that in mind overall for CEP. Core Oncology. So it is a biotech gem flying under the radar. So it has a drug for leukemia and it's got FDA approved buzz at ASCO 2025 this weekend, pushing shares up with a tight float and 3 to 5% daily moves. It's got juice for quick scalps. Trade it on news driven spikes or pullbacks to the 50-day moving average. Keep this one on your radar. You're not going to regret it. So next one is LTRY. Lottery.com is a penny stock with serious pop. This digital lottery platform broke out of a bull flag, jumping 674% in 6 days last month. Volume still high, and it is buzzing about its low float. With a target of $5.24, it's perfect for fast entries on dips or breakouts above $2. So keep this one on your radar, man. Next one is MP Materials, ticker symbol MP, and it runs the only US rare earth mine, and it's heating up with US and China trade talks in focus. It says that rare earths could rally if tariffs hit Chinese supply chains with 3 to 6% daily swings and solid volume. It's a sneaky play for scalps around trade news. And last but not least, we have Arvin's, ticker symbol ARVN, and it's another biotech sleeper popped after the ASCO 2025. The event showed its breast cancer drug delayed progression by 3 months with 4 to 7% daily moves and steady volume. It's perfect for trading news spikes or dips to the 50-day moving average. Keep an eye on this one and have it on your scanner. With that being said, man, thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. Be very, very careful trading. Be cautious, man. And comment down below how much money you guys made today and some of the stocks and plays that you guys are personally watching. Let's get to 500 subs, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.